My name is Mark Meuser. I'm running to be your next Secretary of State. And with Meuser, you are more sure of fair and free elections. I want to take us back in time. Let's go a long, long, long time ago. In a place far, far away. November of 2016, San Pedro, California. Cheryl was an election worker, and Cheryl was allowed to see the voter rolls the day before elections, to see who was coming into her polls. And as she studied the polls, as she studied the roster, she found that there were 19 people registered to vote at a P.O. box. Now this did not seem right to her, so the day after the election she put on her Sherlock Holmes hat and she started to do some investigation. And Cheryl found out that the P.O. box was owned by the San Pedro Democrat Party. We have a problem in the state of California. It's called bloated voter rolls, which means that there are more people on our voter rolls than those who are eligible to vote. Here in the state of California, we have 11 counties with over 100% voter registration, meaning there are more people on the rolls than are eligible to vote. And leading the way in civic participation is none other than LA County with 144% voter registration. They are real good. They're good. We got a problem. And as Secretary of State, you are the one who is supposed to make sure that the counties are doing their job in cleaning the voter rolls. And our current Secretary of State is not doing that. He's just allowing the county registers to do what they want, when they want. So there's 5 ways that we get bloated voter rolls. The first way is if you die and they don't remove your name from the voter rolls. The other day I was up in Lake County, California, and there was a woman who, when it came to questions, she just started crying. And it took her a couple minutes to get it out. Her husband has been dead for 12 years. And every election she receives a mail-in ballot for her husband. She's never voted it, she just rips it up. And but it doesn't matter how many times she's gone to the register of voters and says, here's a copy of his death certificate. He's dead. Remove him from the voter rolls. They're not doing it. And that creates bloated voter rolls. So the first way you get bloated voter rolls is if somebody dies. The second way is if somebody moves. As we heard, there's a couple people here who are about ready to move. And if the county does not cancel their voter registration, you get bloated voter rolls. I'm sure everybody in this room has gone and knocked doors for a campaign at some point or time. And you may have the most recent copy of the voter database. And I bet you, if you've knocked more than 200 doors, you have knocked on a door, and they say, oh, they haven't lived here in years. You get bloated voter rolls when somebody's died, when somebody moves. When you get a duplicate voter registration. The other day I was talking to a person up in Solano County. He was knocking door to doors, and he looked at his address, looked to see that he was registered to vote. But he also saw that the person who bought the house from 5 years ago was still registered to vote 3 times. First as a Republican, then as a Democrat, then as a declined state. As he changed the party, instead of canceling the old voter registrations, they created new ones. And that creates more voter registrations than those who are eligible to vote. The fourth way you get bloated voter rolls is called a fictitious voter registration. That, like the story of Cheryl that I started out, those sound pretty fictitious if you ask me. The fifth way you get bloated voter rolls is when a non-citizen ends up on the voter rolls. Because here in the state of California, in order to vote, you must be a citizen of the United States of America and a resident of the state of California. We have a problem in the state because there are 4,200 public welfare agencies and offices that when you go in to get public welfare, one of the forms that you are required to fill out in order to get it is a voter registration form. And we know that just one of those public welfare agencies last month said they have 450,000 non-citizens who receive that particular form of government welfare. And the Secretary of State has no policies, no procedures, no checking the voter rolls to cancel from the voter rolls those who are non-citizens. 5 ways that we get voter rolls: those who have died, those who have moved, those who have duplicate voter registrations, those who have fictitious, and then of course, non-citizen. That is the problem. As Secretary of State, I have the power to remove from the voter rolls those who have died, those who have moved, those who have duplicate voter registrations, those who have fictitious registrations, and of course, non-citizens. That is the problem we have. Let's take care of the other problem that we have. Right in this room, we have a lot of Republicans, and I'm sure everyone in this room has heard that Republicans cannot win in the state of California. That is the only form of voter suppression we have in the state of California. That is voter suppression by the Democrat Party on the Republican Party to keep, 1, our candidates from not running, 2, people from contributing to our candidates, 3, keeping our volunteers from volunteering for our candidates, and 4, to keep some people home from voting. It is voter suppression by the left to keep you from having your representatives representing you. Let me tell you about what's going on in 2018 and why we're all going to get out there and win. 1, there is a tide change going on. In a recent LA Times poll, 42% of California Democrats do not like the direction the state is going. That's called an opportunity. Number 2, I'm running for California Secretary of State, Chief Election Officer. The issue of election integrity, the volume is being turned up. Democrats do not believe that dead people should be voting. They believe one person, one vote. And they are hearing about how Pennsylvania has 100,000 non-citizens on their voter rolls. You know, the other day when I did a live video with Cheryl, when we talked about the 19 Democrats registered at a P.O. box, that video was seen by 750,000 people on Twitter alone. My message is resonating. So number 1, we got a tide change. Number 2, we have a message that resonates. But number 3, we have an opportunity for a high voter turnout. In 2014, Jerry Brown got more votes than any other person running statewide. He got 4.3 million votes. In 2016, Donald Trump got 4.4 million votes. What does that mean? There's more than enough Republicans that if we turn out to vote, we can win in a low turnout Democrat gubernatorial election. We have enough votes to win, but we need to get them turned out. And we have a secret weapon that's going to get them turned out in 2018. It's called the repeal of the gas tax. The other day I was in Anaheim. John Ken came on the radio to do a drive-through sign the petition. At 2 o'clock when they went on the air, there wasn't a single car in line waiting to sign that petition, but within 10 minutes, that line of cars was a half a mile long. That is called an opportunity. That is called people are fed up with the government that's being shoved down them, and it's our opportunity to get our message heard. So I am running for California Secretary of State. In the last 6 months, I have driven over 47,000 miles, making sure that we wake up conservatives, Republicans, Tea Parties, independents, making sure that they understand the opportunity we have. Just as Paul Revere on his midnight ride woke up the Minutemen to go out and face the British, so we, the freedom-loving Californians, got to make our stand this year. This is our time, and we can push this tyranny that's coming out of Sacramento right into the sea. As I said, I've driven over 47,000 miles, and today we're preaching to the choir. So let's just test how good the choir is. If you believe Republicans can win in 2018, I want to hear a loud amen. Yeah. And if you believe that I can win as Secretary of State, I want to hear a loud hallelujah. Well, as you all know, you sound like a pretty good choir, but every choir knows that there's a white envelope that you fill out and send in your tithes and offerings. My assistant has just given each and every one of you the same white envelope. If you're watching this on the internet, markmeuser.com, that's markmeuser.com. But please, this is how we get our message out. This is how, you may not be able to drive 47,000 miles. You may not be able to give over 300 speeches. You may not be on the media, on the radio 3 times in a day, but I can, and I can represent you. So if you want your state back, I ask you to fill out an envelope, get it back to us today, because we need to make sure that we get your voice heard, so that in 2018, in November, on Election Day, rather than mourning, we're rejoicing. My name is Mark Meuser. I'm running to be your next Secretary of State. And with Meuser, you are more sure of fair and free election.